Hi there guys, my name's Dan from Your Guitar Academy, and today we're working again with the cool guys from Wampler to bring you some more free video lessons. Now, we're in a series called Breaking Out of the Pentatonic Box. Now, this is the simple idea that everyone's so used to this minor pentatonic, maybe boxes 1 to 5, and we want to just give you some simple ideas to simply add to this to suddenly enrich your playing with a little bit more life, shall we say. So we're just kind of coming away a little bit from those basic sounds of these pentatonic boxes, because it can really restrict a lot of players as they kind of progress into more advanced levels of playing. So the little idea that we've got for you today is based in chromatics. Now, I just want to kind of use this lesson as a chance to explain chromatics and how you can, again, easily use them within your pentatonic boxes. So a chromatic scale or a chromatic is just literally note after note. I mean, a chromatic scale is just, you know, just note after note, or put even more simply, this is chromatic scale, right? Now, in itself, it's pretty awful. I mean, you're literally playing all 12 notes over and over again. So this is not the way to use a chromatic scale, but that's what a chromatic scale is. Now, the way to use the chromatic scale and the way we're going to do it today as an introduction to this, because, you know, as you start getting more into chromatics, you start getting more into the world of jazz and fusion sounds, and there's some really cool things you can do with this. But for now, I'm going to give you a more basic thing to kind of get started with. And I just want to simply take this concept of the pentatonic up here. So pentatonic shape 1, okay, just here, in A minor for now, and use at the very top of this a chromatic. Okay, so firstly, a chromatic should start on an original note of the key and end on the original note of a key, as a basic guideline, okay? So for example, if I'm on the top 2 notes of the pentatonic, these 2 notes we're going to call safety notes. These are notes that absolutely definitely will work pretty much whatever chord you're over in the key. So if I'm in the key of A minor and I'm playing over the 4 chord or the 5 chord or the 6 chord or the 7 chord or whatever, these 2 notes are pretty much always going to work. So they're safety notes. Let's just call them that, okay? Now, in between those 2 notes, we've got 2 more notes, okay? So these 2 here. Now, these notes can be attributed to a variety of scales. They could be attributed to a minor scale, a Dorian scale, a Phrygian scale, and loads of stuff, okay? But without having to know any of that, we can just attribute them to a chromatic scale. And therefore, that means that we can use both those notes, but as a bypass to get to the next safety note, okay? Like this. So here's safety note 1, chromatic note, safety note 2. Okay? So a simple lick that goes like this is going to work. And it's going to work because even though these 2 notes are officially outside of our pentatonic box and our safety notes, because I'm only playing them relatively quickly and I'm going through them and resolving to a note that does work, all it's doing is adding a bit of casual tension, so nice tension, you know, the kind of tension that gets immediately resolved. If I landed on one of my chromatic notes and I went like this, you know, and I'm playing over the key of A, it's not perfect, you know, unless you're deliberately looking for that sound, which probably you're not if you're kind of just basically trying to break out these pentatonic boxes. That's not the sound you're after, okay? So chromatic, you go through them, you end on a safety note, you try and start on a safety note, and that's the journey at the moment, okay? So what I'm going to do to demonstrate is I'm just going to take a basic backing track in A minor, okay? So let me just lay something down. I'll play 3 chords in A minor. I'll play the root chord, I'm going to play the 4, and I'm going to play the 6, so we get a major in there as well, okay? So it's going to go like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to go to 4. Then the 6, and then kind of just going to loop that, okay? So we've got our basic A minor pentatonic. Which sounds great, okay? Now, let's try this chromatic idea, shall we? So I'm just going to take this top string, okay? Something like this. Okay? So I played 2 notes there that were way out of that scale shape. and yet it worked. I don't think anyone's sitting there going, oh, not sure about that. Maybe some of you are, but for me, I like that. So I'm going to do it on the next string as well. Okay. Notice how after every chromatic thing, I'm going back into a basic pentatonic lick as a kind of release, a bit of a release. So I'm just going to go now all the way like this. Okay, so I quite simply just played, but because that's my end note, my target note, and it sounds great, it almost doesn't really matter what I've played up to that, okay? So this is the usage that I'm trying to get at, okay? And you can do it all over the shapes. So here, for example, let's say we've got the pentatonic here like this. Why not drop back through one? Okay, so this is an out note, this is in, this is out, this is in. But because I'm going to end on this note, and then do a bit of a pentatonic at the end, it works, right? You see what I did there? So I'm playing a bit of pentatonic, and then out, in, happy days. Okay? Okay, does that make some sense? So let's just stop that for a second. So that's kind of how you can quickly use chromatics. Don't think about it too hard. Just know your pentatonic shape 1 very well. And of course, this works with all the shapes. So you can do it in shape 2, shape 3, shape 4, any way you want. As long as you know the notes that are pentatonic, so i.e. the safety notes, and therefore you just use the notes in between those or just outside of those. Okay? So here at the top, it's nice and simple because we've got 2 safety notes on either side, and we use a little build up through chromatics. Maybe here, you can just use the note in the middle as a chromatic note, but also you saw that I went back 1 and used an out note to start with, okay, just so that I could get this nice pattern of 4 again. Okay, so there's loads you can do with this, and again, it's about you trying it with a backing track in a variety of keys, see what you like, see what you can get away with, but hopefully that's just giving you a few kind of ideas and a good place to start with.